guys, I'm out here walking my dog again, and I just can't help but notice these pastures. I wanted to show you something. This is pretty interesting and something that probably most people see all the time and don't really think a whole lot about. So if you look at this pasture, you can kind of see that it looks like, there's a lot of grass. Looks pretty full. But when you start actually looking down, you start seeing a lot of bare patches, and you see a lot of weeds coming into those bare patches. This is nature's way of covering itself, because when the ground gets bare like that, it's very susceptible to erosion and weather elements, and the microorganisms in the soil do not like to be in the light, and they don't like to be dry, and also heat. So the ground covering produces shade and cover so that there is moisture down underneath here. It protects it and insulates the ground from temperature changes and so forth. So you can see the difference between these two spots right here, where this is, even though we've had some recent rain, it's already cracking, and these weeds are doing their best. We call these weeds succession plants because in the trauma that happens to the earth gets dug up or something happens and the earth is exposed. The first plants that come back are the weeds, because they grow quickly, they're aggressive, they can cover quickly, and that is kind of nature's band-aid. And a lot of people are thinking that they need to get rid of the weeds, they're going to seed out and make more. And while that's true for a little while, sometimes the reason the ground is bare is because of nutrient loss, and there isn't enough nutrient in the soil to support healthier plants, perhaps. Like maybe these are a little bit healthier. And you can see there's a lot more cover underneath, and those plants are doing okay. They're already starting to get seeds, and they'll be cycling through here pretty quickly. But the main thing is the succession plants coming in and creating that cover. Not only that, but typically the depth of the roots tends to mimic the top of the plant. So these taller plants are going to have deeper roots. The shorter plants will have shorter roots and maybe spread out more. And this is important because they're bringing up nutrients from different levels of the soil, so that when this plant dies, when it seeds out, which it's doing now, and it dies, then those nutrients that are in the stem are going to be contributed back to the soil. Now this pasture is not grazed. This is a hay field, and we see this kind of stuff a lot in hay fields because we're constantly mining it. If you think about hay, we're cutting the grass, we're removing it from the pasture, and that is essentially mining the minerals and the nutrients out of the soil without replenishing them. Now, a lot of times farmers will come back and fertilize, and typically commercial fertilizers tend to be more acidic, which really discourages the bacteria and the microorganisms and the worms and all of those beneficial things that make a healthy soil. So this is what starts happening in the pasture. You start getting these bare spots. And even though on a view across the pasture it looks like there's a lot of grass, it really looks more like this. So just some observations again from the pastures. I want to point out too that the importance of animal impact on a pasture like this is really important. I wanted to show you, I was walking a little while ago where there was a lot more dead matter. This pasture does get cut, and so there isn't a lot of dead matter, but you can see, like right here, okay, this dead stuff right here. In bigger plants that grow up, this can be quite high off the ground. And so if you don't have animal impact, then it just stays up in the air. It doesn't ever get incorporated back into the soil. When you put animals or cows, or if you have herds of animals like they did back, you know, many years ago, then they would come through, they would graze, they would take the best parts of the plant, which is usually the tip parts, the most tender and has the most nutrition in it, and they would stomp on it, step on it, and that would put this stuff back in touch with the soil where it can get broken down by the microorganisms and the worms and things. But also they would manure and urine do that, so that we are mimicking what birds were once doing. We just put the animals on for a short period of time in a small space. We move them pretty quickly, and we're able to get the impact on the soil with the manure benefits and getting the tips grazed without having to cut it. All of the nutrients are being deposited back on the soil, and then the animals are moved onto a fresh pasture every day, which also minimizes parasites and keeps the animals from being in their feces and in disease. So it's a healthier way of grazing an animal. It's a very, well, it's regenerative, right? And we get the benefits of having great food from that, and healthy food. So just some more observations as I'm out here walking around, talking to you all. And I don't know if this is of interest to you or not. If it is, comment below and maybe I'll do some more of these. If it's not, then, you know, just keep scrolling. Anyway, hope y'all are having a great day. It's a beautiful day in Virginia. See ya.